You're now watching Haunt Talk with your host Scott from Exploring Attractions and Rob from the Howling Hour, home for all things scary and spooky related.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Haunt Talk podcast. This is episode 20. This is a little bit of a milestone. My name is Scott.
And I am Rob.
And today we are joined by Bella from Knott's Scary Farm.
Woo!
Welcome to the show.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm just happy to be here. Oh, my dog's in the back. Trying to look like I didn't just wake up. That's why.
You know, all of us just woke up. It's 9 in the morning when we're filming this, so.
That's true. That's true.
What you guys get is raw, uncut, no preparation podcast.
Exactly. Actually, I am prepared. I have coffee.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
that's all you need. You're ready
it's
to go.
funny.
My prep.
That's a
I was
cool
just
mug.
ranting to Rob about like how I want coffee or an energy drink, and I was like, no, I'll wait till after.
Yeah, because he gets the jitters. So
Yeah.
as opposed to myself, who's already went to the gym, and I think my pre-workout has like 3 cups of coffee, or the equivalent to 3
Jesus.
cups of coffee. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. So I need that to like get me going. So
You gotta wake up and hit them.
yeah, I'm
games,
a
dude.
larger individual, so I'm like a train. It takes me a lot of energy to get going. So
You're like a train. Well, Bella,
So
we
is your
appreciate.
pre-workout just like horse tranquilizer or
yes,
what?
yes, it is. Yes, it is. I do a lot of while I'm lifting, so I'm one of those guys.
Oh, no.
We appreciate you coming on, Bella.
Yes,
This
thank
is a
you,
podcast
thank you.
that Rob and I have
Thank
been wanting to
you.
do. It's exciting to have you on. And yeah, talk about all your experience with Haunt. So let's get right into it. How'd you get into this whole machine?
Oh, goodness. I actually became a scare actor to get over my fear of haunts.
Nice,
Love it.
nice.
If that makes any kind of sense.
That's fair.
It works. Yeah, it works. I understand that.
And because it was a community I knew I was very into. I remember watching on YouTube like the old kind of Knott's audition videos. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. I want to work there someday. And then it was like freshman year in high school. I had some friends be like, hey, let's go to Knott's Scary Farm. And my brain was like, absolutely, absolutely not. No, no, no. And they're like, oh, but like you'd love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And I go, and I don't go into a single maze. I didn't go into any maze.
Okay.
I'm like running through every single scare zone. And we're like, okay, well, we're here, so we might as well do the rides. So we wait hours for rides because the ride times at Knott's are like astronomical.
Yeah.
And then we're going to Silver Bullet, and I walk through Forsaken Lake, and I get a blast of fog right in my face. I can't see a thing. I have a panic attack, and I trip over a planter,
Oh no.
and
Oh,
I'm dead.
You died, and then you not
one
Scary
of
Farm
the victims.
revitalized
One
you.
of the victims of
I
Forsaken
died
Lake.
in Forsaken Lake.
Yeah.
Full blown panic attack. I was done. I do not consider that my first time at Scary Farm because oh my god. They'll be like, how was your first experience? I didn't go into a single maze, and I tripped in a planter and I cried. So then I had like people like, oh, we're gonna go back, that kind of stuff. That's like when the Hollows was still a thing. I remember like
Okay.
walking at the end of the night and seeing a scarecrow give someone directions back to the parking lot. Like that one photo of like the pumpkin looking at the park map. If we know that one, it was just bizarre.
I don't know if I remember that one, but I'm sure we can pull it up and put it on the screen.
Oh, definitely.
Well,
But
people, I don't know why people are always asking. I mean, I guess because they work there, but people are always asking the characters, like, "Hey, how do I get here? How do I get there?"
like you're asking literal death, like where the latrines are.
Yeah. Can you
And
tell
like
me where
what
to
are
ride
they
the
gonna
Snoopy
do? Like not
coaster
tell
at?
you? It's just so weird. But yeah, and then and my senior year of high school, obviously, like I think you need like a high school diploma to work at Knott's. Um,
I think, yeah, I thought,
yeah,
because you had to be 18, and then obviously with the high school diploma, like most
but on
jobs.
my feed came up auditions for a very tiny haunt called Dark Harvest.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I actually went to the auditions to be a makeup artist
Was
because
was that the corn maze?
no,
Okay, was
I
that the
think
one
that
in?
was like Haunted Harvest.
Because I know
I
they
think
That
they
s-
had
that
they like
that's
beef.
switch
exactly what I'm
names and
thinking.
stuff.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about Haunted Harvest too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that one was that the one in Anaheim?
Hmm.
Okay, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think they had beef, which is really funny. But I did a lot of special effects makeup. In
Okay,
fact, prior before I work with the Red Cross and their disaster drills. So, as a field medic and a member of the Red Cross, I would participate in those disaster drills by providing special effects makeup.
interesting.
So, the day before, I'd get a list of injuries. So, like, oh, we want an amputation, we want a laceration, we want third-degree burns, we want glass shards, we want bruises, we want a fracture. I'm like, okay, cool, internal, external flat fracture.
Hmm.
And I'll be up the night before making my own prosthetics and applying them onto the students the day of.
Okay.
So that was my portfolio that I brought. Um, and they ended up hiring me as a makeup artist.
Okay.
And then they're like, hey, you can do your own makeup. We need more scare actors. You're a scare actor now. And I was just like, uh, oh no,
You're like, I guess.
I guess. And then and then the story of the maze changed like three times. So I made this whole character and I was so into it. And I wanted to be a stilt walker. I sewed my own stilt pants. Um, and I made my own mask and everything. And they're like, actually, that does not fit the vibe of the maze, even though we did previously approve your character.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, we open in like a week.
Hmm.
What do you want me to do? And they're like, here's a straight jacket. You're a clown. Figure it out. So like, okay.
You're like, my first time as a scare actor.
And it was crazy because it was not something I ever thought like I could do
Well,
because
how I was gonna say, well, how like being that you know you have a little bit of fear, um,
a whole
how
lot of
yeah,
fear.
how was your mindset when they're saying like, hey, you've done the makeup, but now you're going to be someone scary, like being someone who gets scared. Like, how was your mindset like going into that?
It was it was just funny because I put on my makeup. I'm like, cool. I am an entirely different person.
Okay,
And I went all out. I got contacts for the first time.
nice.
Hmm.
I put like a hair gel in my hair so my hair looked all like greasy and wet and gross. Um, I ended up modifying my straitjacket because it was made for like an adult man. Um, and I added extra like belts and buckles onto it so it actually fit me.
Okay.
Um, and I was in a room full of like barrels. And what was fun is for the new person who's never scared before, I was the only person in the maze with a script,
Ooh.
Hmm. Okay.
um, which was a choice.
A good one or a bad one?
Oh, well, I don't, I would say good because it gave me a lot of experience.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Trusting me, I don't know. So I actually did get to put on a show in that kind of sense.
Hmm.
And it was really neat because there was a point where guests were literally trapped in my room until the next door opened and the story would continue.
Okay.
So like towards the end of the season where we just got really comfortable with each other, we would start just bashing people on their clothing choices. If they're coming in with like a couple, or if their kids coming in there.
Yeah.
Um, we'd talk about like the central story and like kind of talk trash about other characters. Or my friend, she played the security guard that would kind of like break them out of the asylum. And we would talk trash about her even though she's on the other side of the wall.
You had that full immersion there.
Oh yeah, and I had I didn't know what sliders were yet. Like I knew what they were, but like I didn't know like what they were.
Okay.
Um, my friend Truett, who's in Decayed Brigade now, helped me put together my first set of clackers.
Nice.
Ooh.
And I still have them, and I tried to dye them purple, and it rained that season, like 2021.
Mm.
So I remember like being drenched in my room, just open ceiling, and just the paint just like come like the purple paint just coming off of my hands. But I found Razor scooter pucks, like the sparkers,
Okay.
Oh, the ones
and
at
I
the end
glued
of it.
those onto my gloves, and I was in a room full of metal barrels.
Oh, okay.
So I
Okay.
learned if I hit these barrels in a certain angle, I got to throw sparks at people.
Nice.
You got creative with it, and this is all in your first year.
Oh, yeah. Um, I got my haunt name that first year. They called me Banshee.
And where did that originate from?
Um, well, here's some fun, weird tidbit information.
We like those. We like
Is
those.
yeah, weird. Every story I ever take has some weird side tangent to it. But I was in a military program for 5 years.
Wow.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was in the Civil Air Patrol. Um, being a weird alt person in like a weird Air Force cadet program was kind of silly, but I learned after doing drill, I could project my voice really far and
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
really loud.
Okay.
Um, and I had this like banshee shriek.
Ooh.
And there's only like one video I really recorded of it, and it's like very, very deep in my haunt account with all my first year stuff. And this was my very first night working. I thought this is going to be so funny.
Mhm.
What if in my room, when there's no one in here, I yell really loud and I know the people in line outside can hear me?
Yeah.
And I just thought, as someone who has very high anxiety, to be outside of the maze and hearing just straight up shrieking,
Yeah.
I thought was so funny. I'm like, oh, this is great. They don't know what they're going in for.
They're just hearing someone yelling.
Someone
Yeah.
screaming.
Unbeknownst to me, we got complaints from the Motel 6 next door
Oh my
That's
goodness.
hilarious.
that they heard like this shrieking. And they thought it was an audio issue. So like you need to find out whatever that is and
Mhm.
like not
And don't
do
do
that.
it.
And it took them a while to figure out it was me. Because they'll look in my maze or they'll look in my room, they'll be like, there's no one in her room.
Yeah.
Why is she yelling?
There's no
And
point to track it back to her.
yeah, so it took them like it was like kind of like a goose chase like the whole night of like where is this screaming coming from? And then they finally like found out it was me and they're like, "Oh yeah, your name's Banshee now."
Well deserved.
Um,
Well
Yeah.
deserved.
oh
I
my
like
God.
I
And
like
when I
that.
found
It
out
has its own
I knew
story.
like haunt name culture as a thing. What also happened that night, I had a kid throw up in my room.
Oh.
So like it was like just pumpkin patch maze. No one had any cleaning supplies.
Mm.
A kid walks into my room, sees me, vomits,
Oh wow.
And I'm like, this is my very first night working.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what to do.
Uh-huh.
This kid's scared, and I can empathize with that. I ended up holding his hand through the rest of the maze
Oh,
because, like, hey, dude, it's fine. Like,
Like,
we're
I get it.
okay. I'm a person. Like,
I tripped over a planter before.
I tripped over a planter and I cried in Forsaken Lake. So I'm like, I swear to God, if my haunt name is something vomit themed.
That'd be hilarious, and it would just stick with you too.
Oh
yeah,
my
you wouldn't be able to
God.
get rid of it, but luckily that's not what happened.
But like it's funny because then I get into like the photo meet community and I
Mm.
go to conventions and I have my other account versus my haunt account, so people don't even call me Banshee, they call me Mozzarella.
So
Like, guys, it's
you have
so less
multiple names
cool.
now.
Yeah,
That's funny. And then you
it's
just
just
have Bella.
yeah, it was
Well,
just
that's
Bella.
I mean that's how I met you, like from the very beginning, was just going to the photo meets, and you were so awesome and so cool, like let me take pictures of you and stuff. So I that's my introduction to you, was the kind of like your makeup and all, just the cool stuff you would do, and yeah, you're awesome at that stuff.
Oh,
Very
thank you
very
so
very talented, very
much.
talented.
Yeah,
It's just so funny. I think of that one scene from like Avengers Infinity War where Spider-Man's just like, are we using our real names or are we using our fake names?
it's always you gotta tune into different characters, you know?
Oh my God. So like every time I'm at like a convention, I'm like, what alias am I under?
Like, what are people gonna reference me? I think it's
I
cool
know.
because I mean, you talk about how you have multiple names in the community and stuff like that. That's kind of how I got to see your account. Is like, um, you're pretty popular in the community as
Yeah,
far as like a lot of people knowing who you are,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
cool to see your diversity because you also do aerialist stuff too.
Yes,
Hmm.
It's cool to see
yes.
your diversity in the sense of like you can just be like, I want to do this week, you know?
Oh my God. And it overlaps so much.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like everything I do, I was able to just really seamlessly like go into, especially meeting people in the community. Like even circus and aerial, like Knott's, we have a circus show.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that is run by AJ, who also runs Swing It Trapeze in Anaheim.
Oh, okay,
And
Okay.
she and I have trained together.
that's awesome.
So it's really cool. And it's
Yeah.
just I have my like my two accounts because I do so much.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's just like, okay, well, I have to separate like my haunt stuff from like my everyday stuff. But it's really been merging together as of recently.
Yeah.
I did a Dia de los Muertos photo shoot, and I'm like, oh shoot, which account is this gonna go on?
Like I guess I could just do it on both.
I know. And then like I'll go to Midsummer Scream and I'll be like vlogging or posting on my stories in my personal account, but all of the
Mm.
professional photos get posted on my haunt account. It's just
It's a cool dynamic. And since you are doing like aerialist stuff and everything, you also kind of got to do like a stunt role this year in Bloodlines.
hmm.
How much of that
And
was
it
like stunt? Were you just like hanging off a harness or?
oh my goodness, the whole stunt thing is was weird because I didn't even get offered stunts initially.
Hmm.
I think what people don't realize about auditions is you don't have to take what they give you the first time.
Okay.
Okay.
Like a lot of people, I guess, like even if it's like your first year and that kind of stuff, like a lot of people, if they get something, and it's not whether don't put me in a maze, I want to go streets. That's not how
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they originally wanted to put me as like a child character in Grimoire called like the Bedsheet Kid.
Okay.
Okay.
And they're just like, oh, well, like, it's so cool. You get to wear pajamas and it's a makeup role. And I just, in that moment, I'm just like, I do not see myself playing this character
Yeah.
and having like a fulfilling season.
Okay.
And I just like, and then I talked to Billy and I had a role altercation last year where I had a friend who didn't want the role she wanted in Waxworks. I was able to switch.
Mm,
And then I was able to talk to everyone about it and say, hey, well, last year I switched roles with a person. I was very flexible. I was very accommodating. Yeah, like remember me. Um, may I get another offer?
yeah.
Okay.
And they did. They worked with me. They
Oh,
they
that's cool.
looked at um they looked at kind of like most mazes are very like typecasted. Even
Hmm.
streets are very typecasted too. So they kind of like looked at like no, she'd be too short for that, or no, she looks too young for that kind of thing. And eventually
Right.
they're
Right.
just like, do you want to do stunts? It's like, yeah, okay. They're like, no, oh no, I think the first thing was like, do you like vampires? I'm like, yeah. Like, do you want to do stunts? I'm like, yeah. Um, so that's just kind of how it turned out. I kind of like
Okay.
asked for it in a sense.
Hmm.
I think the funniest thing though was like they announced that they were done casting for stunts because they needed to take a drug test.
Okay. Yeah.
So like all and I went to auditions with like a few of my friends. I knew a lot of people I was auditioning with. So what they see is me go up to the table, have a pretty like long talk with the people at the table,
Hmm.
Okay.
and then get escorted out by security.
So they think that you like failed the drug test or something.
Because I had to go to the medic
Yeah.
area to take a drug test for my
Okay.
stunts role. So I got some texts from friends who are like, Bella, what
What's
happened?
going on? Where did they
What
take
did you
you?
say? I'm like,
Little
it's
do you
okay.
know,
Knots
I'm
just wants me
FBI
to
most
pee in a
wanted.
cup.
It's like just a regular Knots thing to be a scare actor.
Regular Knots vibes. They just, put my pee somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and said, "All right, it's
Store it.
good."
Put it in chilling chambers right next to the poop thing.
There you go. There you
Bella's
go.
piss.
So you kind of got essentially thrown into the stunt role. So how did you manage being scary as a stunt actor, like playing out the scene, or like making sure you're playing out the scene at the end, and also trying to be scary to guests?
Oh my goodness. This year was such a challenge for me because here's the problem with my stunt roles. Some of our stunt roles are really scary.
Hmm.
Okay.
I see our bungees, they're just straight jump scares.
Yeah.
Right.
Get people every single time. Or our banshees, they're on the zip lines and they go across over guests.
Yeah.
Or even our wall crawlers are very showy. And like stilt walkers, like they drop people like at least every other group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me, I'm just I was just tied to a wall on this ledge.
Okay.
And the whole scene plays out. We're the finale scene. I'm holding these chains, and we're holding the chains of the vampire king in the center. And then the chandelier drops on the king and impales him. And then we have this little victory moment. And then they walk into the other room, and there's our stilt walker ready to wreak havoc.
Yeah.
So I remember during my stunt training, I'm like, cool. I am all the way up here, and guests are like at least 6 feet in front of me, while I am like 7 feet in the air.
Yeah.
How do I scare people? And they said, you don't.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, huh? They're like, yeah, that's not your role. Your role's not to scare people. Your role is to be a distraction.
Like,
Okay.
oh, okay.
Okay. Okay.
And I remember being so crushed by it. And you can see like in some of like the videos, I look so out of it
Mm.
because I'm literally tied to a wall.
Hmm.
And we're just supposed to be rattling these chains and
Right.
leaning forward, creating that effect. And people are to look at us, so when they step into the other room, they get scared by our stilt walker.
Right.
But I very much felt like a prop in the maze,
Hmm.
not really like a scare actor. And there's points where like our audio would break or something would happen where I'm on my ledge just kind of like striking poses. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna
Yeah,
stand like
I was
this.
gonna
I'm gonna
say
stand like that.
a lot of the videos I've seen of you, you were doing a lot of poses. So I feel like
Oh my
you were
God.
working it up there. You were working it
Yeah.
up there.
I was trying.
You
And the
tapped
fun
into your
thing
model
is,
mindset, and you're like, all
Yeah.
right.
mhm.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, if you look at videos of the year prior, like there are people going at it. Like they are using their bungees.
Hmm.
We weren't allowed to do that because last year someone broke their bungee.
That's we just talked to somebody who said that they had a whole like thing where they had to pull all the stunts because it was like a manufacturer error or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then so our actual bungee jumpers, they have a very strict code on like how many times they're supposed to jump, how much weight they're supposed to put on it.
Oh,
Right.
So
okay.
one of our jumpers, he's just very enthusiastic and he ended up breaking his bungees. But one of our pulleys, which was what I was, they were really kind of just using their whole cords as well, like just throwing their whole body weight into it. And it
Gotcha.
looks really cool in the videos.
Hmm.
And I look at the videos, I'm like, yes, that is how that stunt is supposed to work. But then we weren't allowed to do that because it
Yeah.
was a safety hazard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was saying like, oh, well, can I kind of like shake or lean or kind of use the bungees in any kind of way? And they're like, no, you can't. You just have to stand there. And I could have probably put up an argument that I'm like, I weigh 100 pounds. I am not going to break these things.
Yeah.
But it was like the premise of it. And then it got to the point, it became a little game of how can I ground myself? It would be like something in like the air doesn't feel right, and I don't think I should be on my ledge today. Kind of
You're like,
vibes.
I just had this nightmare of like I fell off the ledge, so I really think I should be on the
Oh,
floor.
I did fall off my ledge once.
Really? Did the
Um,
harness catch you?
so because the harness we're supposed to lean forward,
Hmm.
but the king's in the middle. So I'm
Okay.
leaning diagonally because I'm trying to lean towards the king.
Yeah.
And I just end up getting really into it, and my foot slips off the platform.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Of course, I fall sideways, so my bungees slam me into the wall.
Yeah.
And
Ah.
of course, it happens when the room is full of
I was
guests.
gonna say, is there anyone in there?
Hmm. And then, like my partner next to me looks horrified, and I get up. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I had this huge bruise on my leg.
Uh-huh.
Didn't tell anybody. Um,
You just did
but
it and got back up.
the worst thing that just happened, I just kept dropping stuff.
Okay.
Like, I had like I at one point we had like little guns. And I dropped that at least once. Maybe like once every other night. The chains that I'm holding, I drop those. And then the talent that's on the ground, I'm kind of like trying to like just have them hand me things. And our stilt walker that I worked with, he had this like big this big belly laugh, kind of like this big dad laugh. And every single time I drop something, I just hear him laugh in the hallway because he's watching us.
So you were on the ground for a couple times that I saw you.
Hmm.
Was that like a really fulfilling, like finally, like yes, I get to like interact with the people a
Oh
little bit more?
yeah. Oh my God. Because our chandelier was constantly broken. And we had some rotations with our vampire king. And I found every excuse to get myself on the ground. And then like I had like my little dagger. I ended up towards the end of the season, I got two like really big axes. And it's not a small room. It's a very large
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I am a very small person. I could run laps around that place, and it was so, so fun.
Nice.
Like when I was on the ground and I got to scare people on the floor, that was like, yes, this is it. This is what it means to be a scare actor. And then we'd still do the story. Like
Right,
I'd
right.
get back in time, then I'd get to kill the king with my partner. And it was also way more fulfilling because we actually got to hit the person and then water would spray out.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Nice.
And then we'd also just get to yap at people too in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. As they're walking
Um,
by.
I got to use like my military voice and tell people to move with haste.
And it kind of works because you're like a vampire hunter in a way,
Oh,
like so it kind of
I didn't.
works.
We never got character sheets. Everything that went on was in my head.
Yeah. But you see someone who's in like war-esque clothing, I guess you could say, like a hunter.
Steampunk,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
steampunk.
guess.
And then you combine your military voice, then it
Hmm.
kind of sets up for a perfect storm.
It's just funny because I'm 4'11". Half the time I was not running laps. I'm standing on this little like pillar platform to make myself look taller because I don't want people looking down at me. I'm supposed to be scary.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
And we're also supposed to be like the good guys.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
So
right.
any sort of like weird savagery that would normally get a response out of someone wouldn't make sense for us.
hmm
Okay.
So I did work with a friend and she was incredible. But like she'd like growl at people and bark at people. And we would joke that we're just like and it worked. It was very unsettling, but also like we're the good guys. Why are we
Yeah.
trying to bite people?
Why are we barking at everybody?
I loved like making fun of people that were hiding behind like someone. And they were just like, you know, the type they're walking through the
Yeah.
maze like this.
Yeah. Clinging on someone's backpack or their
Oh
shoulders.
my goodness. So of course in like I guess whatever commander, vampire, hunter-esque mindset, I'd be like you need to be perceptive. Why are you hiding? There are dangers. They're going to get you. You look very scared.
Yeah.
And then of course, like they see me and they get bodied by my stilt walker. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I tried to warn you.
I mean, that's Stillwalker. I know that Stillwalker was there, and they would get me a lot of the times, just because I'm not like you. In a maze, it's always like Stillwalkers. At least for me, I feel like aren't there. You don't. They're not. You don't see them too often, so it
Hmm.
just kind of catches you off guard. So, and then with your distractions, you're just like, oh, and then you're going the other way, and then it's like, oh, there's the Stillwalker.
Oh
Just
my God, the stilt walkers even get me. And I work there. I work with them.
Yeah. You were that last distraction. You were literally at the very edge of the room. So
Oh my
right, as
God.
soon
And
as
yeah.
they turn the
for
corner, they're coming out.
really for like a final scare for a finale, it's such
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because you kind of have that final like stilt walker kind of jump scare coming out. And
Right.
I enter through the exit and I love seeing people just like running out of the maze and just talking about like, whoa, did you see that guy? He was so tall. Or did you see the chandelier fall? And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
No, you're definitely your room. I mean, in my opinion, I really enjoyed the maze this year. Your room, a highlight of the maze, especially it being a like the final scene. What was it like closing out? Maybe even like that last night. What was it like closing out a maze?
Oh my God. It was a lot more emotional than I thought it would be.
Okay.
Um, because like I worked in another maze that closed last year. I worked in
Right.
Waxworks.
Hmm.
And it was interesting because I in Waxworks I was only really attached to one room.
Okay.
Hmm.
Or I guess I could count two rooms. I spent my last night in the Maryland room and I loved it,
Okay.
dancing on that rotating stage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
But
cool.
when it came to Bloodline, because my my position was that ledge and I wasn't on my ledge a whole lot,
Right.
I actually got free roam of the maze.
Okay.
And I think I have a video of me in every single room somewhere because I felt like one of those NPCs that'll just spawn in different areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where like everyone in the maze would know me, but they'd never see me backstage because I was in a different break room. I was just elusive. Um, but like yeah, so like in when Waxworks, I was very connected to just my one corner.
Hmm.
I grew a personal attachment to the entire maze
Okay.
because I had spent time in every single room at one point. And even that last night, I made sure I'd tell my partner in the throne room, like, hey, I'm gonna run laps. I'm gonna be back, and then you can run around too. Um, and it was just seeing every single like little nook and cranny
Hmm.
and be like, I scared there, I spent time there, and becoming very intimate with the whole structure
Okay.
and everything. It made like being like, oh my God, I'm never gonna see this place again.
Yeah.
Very emotional. And we even had our final walkthrough, we even had individuals who had opened the maze or worked the maze the year before all come in. So like our final photo isn't even our fine our final cast. It was almost everyone who had worked there before.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's cool.
And a lot of them, like we have our jerseys and everything. And then we're talking about how the maze has changed over the years, like how they got rid of the guns, um, and like how they got rid of like the pre-show
Yeah.
and just how it went through all of these changes and really just got shut down after 3 years. Though I must say, the more time I spent in it, the more I realized, yeah, I see why this maze is getting shut down.
Hmm. And I think like
Because,
Rob and I have talked about it. This year for sure, like was the best year.
Yeah.
Solely because of the talent this year.
Oh,
You
yeah, for
guys
sure.
like
For sure.
all of y'all really killed it this year, and it felt like it was always staffed. Whereas the 2 years before, the second year was kind of like a throwaway year because it was the first year without the guns, it wasn't really
mhm.
staffed, and it just felt odd. The first year with the guns, well, it caused just major operation issues. So this year
Yeah.
Oh
felt like
yeah.
really, really strong.
And it was also, so we had the whole gun issue, and you realize when you're walking through this maze, it's made for the guns,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
essentially.
All the ducking areas and everything.
Oh my goodness, it's really big.
Yeah.
Our whole facades, our whole rooms, like they're really larger than life.
Hmm.
So, and then I compare this a lot to like smaller mazes like Waxworks or Mesmer, um, or even one of our newer ones like Widows.
Mm.
If you have one person in a room, that person can cover a room. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have one person in a room in Bloodline, it looks empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you have
That's a
two
good point.
people in a room, it still feels empty.
They're
You
very
need
big
to keep
scenes.
that maze packed
Yeah.
to actually feel the effect of everything. And unfortunately, with knots and staff and everything, it wasn't full most of the time.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, they didn't get the story because they didn't have like kind of the guns or the narration to pay attention to.
Right.
Um, it's a lot of the responsibility of the actors tell the story as well, and we weren't given a lot of the tools to do that. And it's a very theatrical maze, and
Hmm.
guests who are very horror fans aren't used to that.
Right.
Okay.
So, and then of course, like stunts, we're always talking about it and comparing the way our roles fit into everything because it is essentially the stunt maze.
Okay. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I could see that.
yeah, because we have the most stunts out of everyone
Hmm.
and the most variety of stunts as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have the guys on the wall, you have the one who's like ziplining across, and then you have
hmm
y'all in the throne room,
So,
and
Yeah.
a bungee.
yeah, with the exception of like our alternates, the whole maze has one bungee pad, our two wall crawlers.
Okay.
We have our Banshee zip line rig. We have a stilt walker, and then we have our two pulley positions.
Hmm.
It's a lot of stunts.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, which would be cool if that's what our maze is known for, but it's really got the reputation of like, oh, the gun maze that doesn't have guns anymore.
Yeah, yeah. After that first year walking through it, I was like, man, this is. I can already see the future of this.
It
We
was
kind of
tough. It
talked
was
about it
tough.
on one of the recent
hmm
shows. It's like nothing can compare to special ops. Really, it was so easy for like to have zombies and be shooting the zombies.
Oh yeah, and I think the problem was as well, from what I've heard, is that they wanted our actors to like attack or be scary.
Hmm.
And the difference with special ops was these zombies were behind like barriers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So a guest didn't really have the opportunity to like attack them. Like there was a safety net.
Right.
yeah,
And Knott's at the time just didn't think about or didn't provide that safety for the actors, didn't think about how when they put guests in the offensive position, how they would react
Right.
right, right.
in the maze.
When you have actors who are up close and personal with you, and they also
hmm
you have the guests holding like a plastic gun that's
A
not
very
like
heavy
it's heavy.
plastic
Yeah,
gun.
so
Um,
I can see
yeah,
how that can cause issues.
Yeah.
in fact, we actually got our guns taken away mid-season, like our gun props.
Yeah.
And we were just joking, like, oh no, it's happening all over again. But we had actors pointing the guns at guests.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
then, like, we're trying to plead our case with our hunt or our maze manager, like, hey, our room needs guns. It says to shoot the windows. What are we supposed to do? Can you imagine just like in the room, just finger guns everywhere?
Bang
Yeah.
bang 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 bang.
We're gonna shoot the
Mm,
windows with our fingers.
Shooting the windows with the power of my mind.
There you go.
We're going
So,
into a different maze now. You're gonna be 11 all of
oh
a
my
sudden.
God. So we got to be like a little bit special in the sense of like we got to keep our guns, but in the
Hmm.
end it was just like whole thing, so many things going on.
Well, I'll say. I mean, this year, obviously being its last year, you guys made it definitely brought the level of the maze up. So kudos to you, all the talent in there for making that kind of uh, taking something that was mid and bringing raising the level up for the guests. So
Thanks.
Yeah.
props to all of you guys.
I think that you, especially, and everyone else, you looked badass in there, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
And
Oh, thank you so much.
I
yeah, absolutely. And like credit where credit's due because lots of actors like are doing it for fun. They have actors who like really are like trying to develop their character or like put the time and extra effort in that you do of like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to be fulfilled with being a pajama kid in Grimoire. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not going to like, I'm not going to feel fulfilled with that because you care so much
Yeah.
about character development and like, you know, really immersing yourself in that role. So that's cool to see.
for
And I
sure. Yeah.
think it's just a different perspective in the whole thing.
Exactly.
On contrary to like what a lot of people do when they get into haunt, I'm really just here for the community.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love haunt as a community so immensely. And it's really intriguing. I got so close with my stunt team and being able because like we get long breaks. We were hour on, hour off.
Hmm.
Oh,
So we
okay.
have just
Nice.
an hour of shenanigans like in our stunt room and we were playing Disney movies and we played Just Dance at one point and we had like our
Nice.
potlucks and everything. And it's really startling to hear from some actors like, oh, like I'm here to work, I'm here to scare, I'm not here to make friends. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
well, on the contrary, I am here to make friends.
Yeah. On the contrary.
And that's how I know so many people. I
Yeah.
get very involved and I love to talk to individuals and
Hmm.
all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, I'm here to socialize.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's fun for you and it's a passion for you, and it definitely you can even out of like haunt, you know, you can see that just based off of your personality. You know, seeing you out and about, you know, talking with people, you definitely like it. It's a passion for you, and just how open you are and friendly you are. So it definitely comes off that way that you enjoy this and you're you know your friends. I see you talk to everyone like you're friends with
I try.
everyone.
I think that
Coming
it
with
does it's a good thing too because at
Yeah.
the end of the day like it is such a big community and weaved in the big community is an even smaller community of people who are always going to the conventions, always going to these meets, always doing all this stuff who just like are all friends or like
Yeah.
talking or like actively trying to talk to people to become friends. Like it's awesome to see and you see everyone uplift each other.
Yeah, it's com going with me to a convention or a photo meet is a nightmare because I will run off to say hi to people. I'd be like, okay, I'm like, or I may not even know that person. I'll be like, I've seen that person at a photo meet before.
Yeah.
I am going to say hello.
Well, also too, you're just. I mean, I've witnessed it. Everyone loves you. Everyone,
Oh,
especially at photo meets. Everyone. That's why I'm always like, I'm gonna wait till the rush towards you ends, and then I'm gonna be like, hey, can you come over here? Because everyone is just like, hey, come over here. Hey, come over here. And it's like, yeah, you definitely a highlight of those photo meets. You were very very popular. I'll tell you that.
aw. And I feel so bad too because sometimes it feels like so many people know who I am, but I don't know who they are. So especially like photographers, they'll be like, Bella, Bella, and I'm like, huh? And I have lights in my face,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and
And
then like
I think
I just
introducing like the way that you say that you introduce yourself and everything is cool because then you break that barrier right there.
Yeah.
hmm And it's just I love talking to people and it ends up getting into almost like a networking kind of sense.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure. For sure.
So because I do so many things, knowing so many people has become very beneficial for me.
yeah.
Um, it's helped me get into fire eating. It's helped me improve like my aerial. It's helped me improve my modeling. Knowing photographers, videographers, people who work in stunts, people who work in makeup, um, people who work at Disney or Universal or are in film, people who work with runway models. It's just, I can, and I did this the other day. I posted on my story, like, hey, does anyone have like a laser cutter? And I found someone.
Yeah.
Like, oh, does anyone have a 3D printer? And of course, someone I know knows someone.
Yeah. And networking is so important, especially in
Yeah.
like our community, because if you, like you said, you're in so many different realms, like you're gonna have to have connections. You can't just like be like, oh, I want to do that. Okay, where do I start? You know,
Yeah.
like
hmm
yeah, you have to find your connections, and with that comes networking and just being, I don't know, a decent person. Um,
A
Yeah.
decent person, that
Yeah.
helps.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing. Like I was talking about it with Rob. It's like, you know, being in the like influencer YouTube scene, the most thing that I care about is like the community, in the sense of like the community of the people who bring stuff to life, like you guys, like the entertainment. Like that's what's really important to me, because these are the people I talk to all the time, who I
Yeah.
get to see at the haunts, I get to see in the entertain, who I get to interview on podcasts, and it's like such a paying off feeling to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so incredible. And I have to give so much credit to my friends for like putting me in this community, because I wouldn't know how to contact photographers in the
Mhm.
first place. I wouldn't know what photo meets are.
Yeah.
Um, it really took like a few people to hold my hands in the haunt community and take me places and
Make sure you
introduce me to
trip over planters.
people. Oh my God. You have no idea. And of course, entering Forsaken Lake after working at Knott's was even more horrifying
Just get
because
traumatized,
no,
flashbacks.
not even trauma flashbacks. It's people know me there now.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's an incredible story to come up
That's
by
a
right
great,
there.
yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And it's crazy because apparently that happens all the time.
They're
So I
just
told him
never
like,
gonna get rid of
yeah,
that planter.
oh my God. And I'm like, I'll walk with some friends. I'm like, and here's where I sat down and cried.
It's a full circle moment.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And it'd be so fun to like work in Forsaken Lake just to like have it go full circle.
Right, right.
I'll be a griever and I'll get paid to cry.
There you
Yeah, there
go.
you go.
I'll
And then
cry at people.
you can watch people trip over the planter all night
There you
long.
go.
I can. Yeah, maybe I'll be a florist and I'll just yell at people for tripping over the planter.
There you
I
go.
just made these up.
Oh my goodness.
So I told you we are doing a new series where we're having the guests ask a question for a future guest. And you
Okay.
sent your question of describe your first day of scare acting. So that'll be for a future guest. But we also have a question that we got from Angel, who we just interviewed, and he wants to know what was the horror movie, or I guess you could say a movie, that left the longest lasting impact on you.
Oh goodness. You know, this is really embarrassing to be in the haunt community. I don't have a lot of horror movies under my belt.
You're not the
Okay.
only one. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I said any movie.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's mainly because I grew up in a household where it's like movie night is family night.
Hmm.
Okay.
So we're like we're gonna watch something the whole family wants to watch.
No
So
blood and
that
guts on the
never
TV.
Yeah, we're watching
horror
We're
movies
watching Toy
never.
Story.
Oh my goodness. Horror movies now recently I'm trying to put myself more into horror movies. In fact, my New Year's resolution is to watch all of the classics.
Okay,
Okay.
nice. That's a good start.
Um, my very first real horror movie that I watched was Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's a good
Nice.
starter one.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a lot of the old movies that used a lot of practical effects.
Hmm.
So I actually give a lot of credit to The Walking Dead, which isn't a horror
Nice.
movie, but it's a TV show, that they did a lot of kind of behind the scenes takes
Yeah.
on all of their practical effects makeups
Yeah,
for
I
their
used to watch
zombies.
that. I used to watch that stuff too with like I think it was Greg Nicotero?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. He used to do like, "Oh, this is how we did this. This is how we did that."
Yeah.
Yeah, those are so
And
cool.
that piqued my interest in special effects makeup,
Okay.
which then piqued my interest in like the haunt community as a whole. And then
Right.
of course like Face Off, which is a makeup TV
Face
show.
Off was so good. I'm glad that you name dropped that.
Oh my God, it's so good. And now I'm rewatching it because it's on Netflix now.
Nice.
Face Off was,
And
they did a Face Off Horror Nights house, and I think I was like one of the only few people who enjoyed it because I was like, "Well, the show is so good."
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, I think the most recent horror movie I saw was Terrifier 3.
Okay.
And I need to rewatch it because I watched it in October in the middle of like haunt. So I
Mhm.
was sleep deprived.
Okay.
And I am no casual moviegoer.
Yeah.
Um, I have, I brought my little clown stuffed animal. I brought a blanket because I get cold. And I also, because I have very high anxiety and I'm in a not controlled environment,
Right.
I wear earplugs to go and watch scary movies.
Okay.
Fair.
So I'm there, I'm with my earplugs. I don't know what to expect. I haven't seen Terrifier 1 or 2. Um,
So you just went
and
right into it then.
There you
I
go.
went
Just
right
jumped right
into
in.
it,
Uh,
raw dogged it. Um, and Lord knows I fall asleep somehow.
Wow. Wow. So this isn't enough. I need more.
I fall asleep and I wake up to the most like grotesque parts. So like I'm groggy, I'm holding my little pillow because I'm expected to be very scared. And I
uh-huh.
look up and I'm just like, "Oh my God."
That's awesome. It's
Absolutely mortified.
yeah, and now those are just sticking in your head now forever.
There you go.
And it's just like it's like, have you seen the movie? And I'm like, pieces of it ingrained in my brain.
You're like none of the parts where there's like no blood and stuff going
It was
on.
all just gore.
Yeah.
Everything was gore.
And I am studying in the medical field right now, so like
Okay.
gore isn't a huge thing for me, but
Yeah.
those directors, those writers, those SFX artists are on something.
Yeah, I know it's crazy.
They are on something, and I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
nuts.
and then sometimes I couldn't help but like laugh because of how ridiculous some of like it all was. Like all of the
Mm.
art to clown scenes I think are so fun.
Right, yeah.
But I'm watching this movie with my friend, and later he's like, I can't believe you laughed during that. And I'm like, yeah, it's funny.
Like, come on, now we gotta have a little sense of humor with the terrifying clown.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just it I need to watch 1 and 2 now.
And in one and two, I feel like our two especially is like super gory. But one, since
Yeah.
it was released at like a different time, there's definitely like, oh man, one was something.
And I will watch movies just for the special effects.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to be a like professional special effects artist for a really long time,
Hmm.
and I kind of like am able to tap into that. Like modeling and photo meets give me an outlet into that.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, Doing makeup on myself and that kind of stuff. So especially like with the new year and being in the whole like photo meet community specifically for over a year now, I really want to get into more complex looks
Okay.
and collaborating with other makeup artists to actually create like creatures like Face Off
Nice.
Hmm.
essentially.
Nice.
Have you ever
Um,
considered doing like a lot of people go into like the mask sculpting. Like, have you ever considered doing stuff like that?
I have definitely considered it. It's just to get into something like that, there's a big barrier
Hmm.
as far as supplies goes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So, and it's very much like, okay, well, I need clay, I need my base to sculpt on,
Hmm.
I need something to like make my mold out of, and then I need like my material, whether it's latex or silicone, to like fill it. It's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
Right.
And for someone who's just a very casual hobbyist like I am, it's hard to commit to something like that.
Okay.
I have I've I've made masks. I've gotten masks and I've kind of sculpted on top of them and made my own thing out of them.
Hmm.
And then I've made my own costume pieces and all sorts of stuff. I think the most I would do is make prosthetics.
Okay.
Okay.
because it seems versus an entire like let's say like immortal mask,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
um, it's a lot less work where you make your sculpt, you make your mold, you put your latex in or your silicone in, and then you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole process, and it's I mean, for the people who have the patience for it too, it's like the patience with that is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And
Yeah.
I feel like you need a studio space for it as well. Like you
Yeah.
need a
Yeah.
designated area, especially since you're working like with a lot of like harsh chemicals too.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, a lot of my art is done in my room.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you'd
My
have to get
my
a whole
makeup's in
studio
my
space for it.
bathroom. My prosthetic molds are setting in my kitchen.
Uh huh.
And
Baking,
it's
baking
just
next to the
like,
cookies.
oh, you just have a pile of grotesque latex next to like a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like which one looks more tasty right now?
Oh my goodness. And like I would have stuff come in the mail like teeth
Yeah.
or like fake blood. And my family opens my packages and they're like, what are you working on?
You're
They're
like,
like,
well, maybe don't
there,
open them up then.
there's a severed hand that I'm gonna work on later. So
I did a sculpt that required like resin teeth. I'm actually looking at it right now on my desk. Let's see. So we're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, right?
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we know the mimic character.
Okay.
That they would disguise as treasure chests and they'd come to life and eat
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So during COVID, I got really, really into making these. Wow, because I need something to do with my hands at all times. So I started making these. So this was my very first one that I made.
Oh,
That's
that's awesome.
cool.
And he's full of like teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Um,
cool.
because then I started using him as a storage space.
Uh huh. It's
Here
a
is one
perfect
I
jewelry
never
holder.
painted, and I don't think I ever will.
That's all. You just have like a just a regular white one.
That's
Just
cool.
a regular clay one.
Uh huh.
Then I have this ocean themed one,
Oh my goodness, that's
maybe like the
incredible.
depths
That's
theme.
yeah, that's dope. All right,
That one's cool.
a scary Little Mermaid.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then now here the teeth come in. I thought, okay, so we have ocean. I made like a fire elemental themed one. I made
Uh,
a um like a regular one. I'm gonna make a flesh one.
Ooh, ooh.
So then I order human
oh my
resin
goodness.
teeth
That one,
online.
that one looks like funny.
Yeah, he
It's
looks and he's got
like
That's
actual
these
human
resin
teeth.
teeth
that's cool. Also creepy.
and his
Also creepy.
human beady little
Yeah,
eyes. He
those.
doesn't
Yeah.
have an
Yeah,
eye
I was
on
gonna
the
say the
inside.
beady eyes are kind of creeping me out.
Wow, you got the whole like top of the mouth in there and everything.
Oh yeah, it's grotesque.
That's awesome.
And he sits on my shelf and he looks at me.
And you're just like, "Hello, friend." You know, and this is what people don't realize is like there are plenty of actors and everything who like, yeah, they're actors, and but like you don't realize the talents that people have, and I mean Bella's a prime example
Oh, for sure.
of the fact
For sure.
like this girl has so many freaking talents. It's crazy.
And it's just it's so cool because people who like are into sliding are also into parkour
Yeah,
and are
yeah,
also
yeah,
athletes.
yeah.
People who are makeup artists can do incredible SFX,
Yeah.
like outside of knots and that kind of stuff. Or even like our actors have like secret makeup talents. A lot of people who do voice acting work
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
gig work outside of Haunt.
Mhm.
It's so incredible to meet people. And then it provides that kind of common ground to
Right.
make more art.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then also
And,
to collaborate with other people. Like, I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned actors who have this makeup talent. That's you right there. You know, you have
No,
you
thanks.
you have this and that's a couple of your talents. Like I'm learning stuff about you right now that I'm just like, wow, I already thought you were talented anyway, and now you're piling on with all your talent. So it's just like,
I,
and then this
I'm
is
just a crafty person.
this
I'm
is
just a crafty person.
this is why I love like doing this, like the podcast like this, because people like I see you, I know you're talented, Scott. We see all of you guys, we know you have different talents, we know the stuff you guys do, but this gives an opportunity for other people to be like, oh, she's not just a character, she has this background, she's super smart, like she's super talented. So it's just like, that's why I enjoy doing this, because we get to, not only do we admire you from like a distance, and oh yeah, I've worked with you, and I have an admiration for what you do, but it's like you get to see the book opens a little more, and just you get to see like how like you as a person. So this is just really cool.
In this case,
Oh.
the treasure chest opens a little bit more.
There you go.
The flesh treasure chest.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
That's what my heart
alley-ooped
looks
me
like.
for that one, Rob.
There you go. I threw it up, you dunked it, Scott. Way to go. Teamwork.
Yeah, Bella.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yes,
You're
thank you so
awesome.
much.
You're
Thank you.
an incredible person, and we can't wait to see what you do next. And we'll have all Bella's information down below in the description as well.
That's so exciting. Thank you so much for having me. It's really humbling that someone wants to hear about me yap.
I think people just like to hear people yap in general. Like, as much as people may be like, oh, so-and-so's annoying. I was like, people just enjoy hearing people yap. I think that's just what
Yeah.
it is,
And it means a lot to me as well to share my experience as a maze monster as well.
Yeah. You're
we
doing
really-
it all.
yeah, we really
But Rob,
appreciate
do you
it.
have
I
any
try.
last-minute questions?
Yes, I have one question for you, and this works perfect because I just asked the last person that was on. Let's go circa Walking Dead style. What is your no guns? I know you like the guns because of your maze, but circa Walking Dead. What is your go-to zombie killing weapon?
Oh my God. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'd survive very long in a zombie apocalypse.
All right, if you're
What's keeping you alive the longest then?
Yeah, what's
Keeping me alive the
Yeah.
longest?
The clown stuffed animal?
No, she's just gonna pull herself
Probably a
up.
strong woman.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, that's fair enough. Yeah,
There you
we
go.
just said no guns. We didn't say human are off the table.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe a very muscular bodyguard.
There you go.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say you could just pull yourself up on your ropes and stuff and just wait it out up there.
Wait until all the zombies starve.
Yeah, there you go. I feel like you could do it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'd bunker down and wait it out, honestly.
There you go.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
I'll have my MREs and I wouldn't have Netflix.
Oh,
I'd
dang.
have board games. You know what? I could run a D&D campaign. That'll take a year.
There you go.
There you
Yeah.
go. Well, I was gonna say
You can play a game of Monopoly with yourself.
Well, I was gonna
Oh,
say
God.
because you meet so many people so easily, you just get everyone else to defend you. So you're
Yeah,
good,
I'd be
you're
like,
good to go.
I'm like, hey guys, I have medical expertise.
yeah. Keep me alive.
I'm a fun person to be around. It would be in your best interest to not let me die.
Look at my cool treasure chest.
I have high charisma. I'm gonna convince you to protect me.
Anxiety, what's that? We don't know that.
What? No.
Well, Bella, we appreciate you coming on. It's been a very fun episode for
Yes,
sure,
yes.
and we appreciate you coming on for episode 20, which is our milestone episode.
Yes, I feel
They-
so special. Thank you.
Thank you.
They
thank
usually
you.
say podcasts don't make it past 20, but we already filmed 21, so we made it past 20. Woo!
That's awesome.
Subscribe to the Haunt Talk YouTube channel, subscribe to the Howling Hour and Exploring Attractions, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.